Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker is Dr. Vivek Joseph.
Yeah.
Can you invite him?
Yes. The next talk is also on atlantoaxial dislocation in Down syndrome by Dr. Vivek Joseph. Can we have Dr. Vivek Joseph, please?
Good evening, friends and colleagues, and thank you, Mr. Chairperson, sir, and organizers for giving me this opportunity. I'm going to talk on atlantoaxial dislocation in Down syndrome. These are usually asymptomatic, occurring in about 20% of Downs. 1 to 2%, however, may be symptomatic. Surgical experience, I had done 9 cases from 2007 to date, with a mean age of about 12 years, male to female ratio almost the same. 8 patients had spasticity, and 1 patient was asymptomatic with neck tenderness. Most of the patients were neuric grade 4 and 5, that is, they had a more severe form of the spasticity. Pre-op carbon dioxide retention was there in 1 patient. 2 of the patients were hypothyroid and 1 was hyperthyroid. Os-odontoideum was seen in 8 patients and a deficient C1 posterior arch in 1. There were no other forms of the congenital CV junction anomaly seen. So the first surgery which I did was the old-fashioned occipitocervical fusion with the removal of the C1 posterior arch, and the remaining 8 underwent C1, C2 transarticular screw fixation, which was unilateral in 1 because of screw cutout on the other side, and the remaining, they were bilateral screws. The screws used were the 4 mm or 3.5 mm Medtronic or Globus screws, and for 1 case I used a smaller scaphoid fracture screw. Additional modified Gailey fixation was done in 7 patients, and in the patient with deficient posterior arch of C1, additional bone graft was placed without the atlas cable. Follow-up was available in 8 of these patients, radiological follow-up of a mean of 22 months and telephonic follow-up of a mean of 51 months. There was 1 mortality in the neuric grade 5 patient with CO2 retention, which occurred 8 months after surgery, and the remaining patients pre-op and post-op neuric grade is shown here. As you can see, the red squares are the ones in which there is no improvement and there is no worsening. And below that, there are no patients, indicating there was no patient who worsened in the neuric grade. And on the right side, on the superior part of the graph, are the numbers which have improved. Radiological fusion was good in almost all cases. So coming to the cases, this is a 9-year-old girl, pre-op neuric grade 5. This is the one who had a occipitocervical fusion and removal of the posterior arch of C1. The radiological result doesn't look great, but the patient has had a very good outcome with a 14-year follow-up, and she is neuric 1 from a pre-op neuric grade 5. This is another case, 16-year-old with hyperthyroidism, who was picked up incidentally. She had a pre-op neuric grade 0, post-op 3.5-year follow-up also shows a neuric grade 0 with good fusion. This is a 15-year-old male with 1-year history of spastic quadriparesis, pre-op neuric grade 4. Again, had a good outcome, improving to neuric grade 2 at almost 3.25 years of follow-up, 3/4 years of follow-up. This is another 14-year-old male, pre-op grade 2, who has improved to pre-op grade 1 at the 9-month follow-up mark. This is a 3-year-old girl with progressive quadriparesis for 4 months, preoperatively neuric grade 5, and improved to neuric grade 1 at more than 7 years of follow-up. This is the patient in which the smaller scaphoid screws were used. This is a 9-year-old boy with progressive spastic quadriparesis of both lower limbs and upper limbs, pre-op neuric grade 5, At more than 3-year follow-up, he has improved to Nuric grade 3. This is a 9-year-old boy with spastic quadriparesis and difficulty head holding. His PCO2 was high before surgery, and he had a pre-op Nuric grade of 5. Post-operatively, we had difficulty weaning him off the ventilator, and he had to be discharged on a tracheostomy. Post-operatively remained Nuric grade 5 and ultimately expired around 8 months from surgery. This is an 18-year-old girl with progressive spastic quadriparesis, pre-op Nuric grade 5. She had a deficient or a bifid posterior arch of C1, on whom we have done bilateral transarticular screw fixation and placement of bone graft. Unfortunately, we don't have follow-up on this patient. This is a 15-year-old child with progressive paraparesis for 2 months who suddenly developed quadriparesis a month ago prior to surgery, and then she slowly improved to Nuric grade 4. And we have a follow-up of 7 months in which she has improved to Nuric grade 1. So conclusions, most of these cases were Nuric grade 5 or 4 or 5, that is the most severely spastic. And we got good results even in these type of patients. However, if there is carbon dioxide retention preoperatively, then I don't, at least I mean, I don't think it is, these are cases on whom surgery should be done. Because, finally that patient ended up being Nuric grade 5 and on a tracheostomy, whereas preoperatively the child did not have a tracheostomy. So it was an additional burden for the mother for the remaining months of the child's life. So overall, there are these patients do give good results following surgery as long as carbon dioxide retention is not there. Thank you so much for your attention.
And we can have a couple of questions to Dr. Vivek Joseph. Okay, if there are none, I think we move on to the.
What is the sort of nature of the bone in these patients? The quality?